It is illegal for company insiders to use non-public material information for profit. We all know that, right? It's also illegal for their friends and relatives to do it. It's illegal for fund managers, for lawyers, for bankers. It's illegal for YouTubers. And whatever you do for a living, it's illegal for you too. But that's not what we're talking about today. But there is a way to legally trade inside information. It turns out you can do it. It's easier than you think. And that's what we're talking about today on Dumb Money Live. We are Dumb Money.
Three friends who turned $30,000 into $30 million using nothing more than Twitter and a zero commission trading account.
The suits that work on Wall Street, they call those people the smart money. That's not us.
Our goal is to help level the playing field for everyday investors.
We are Dumb Money.
As always, a reminder, we are not financial advisors. We are not lawyers. This is not investment advice. This is not legal advice. We're just three dudes on the internet, so take it for what it's worth. But we're willing to share our perspectives and our experiences. And if you appreciate that level of, transparency, why don't you support the channel? We're not asking for money. We're just asking for likes. Smash the button. Chris?
I just supported it, Dave.
Okay, good. So I think this is a topic that a lot of people don't really talk about, and it's something that is misunderstood. So how do we do it? What is the legal way to trade on inside information?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really important question because part of being a great trader is figuring out how to get an information edge. And often that information is some type of, we can call it inside information. It's information that certain people are abreast of and other people are not because of where they are in life, right? Or because of where they work, or because of the type of interactions that they have, or the type of data that you're exposed to. Hedge funds have access to credit card data, right? And so they're constantly watching what we're buying and where we're spending our money, and they're actually making a lot of their decisions based on that. They call it transactional data, and transactional data is the number one alternative data set used by Wall Street hedge funds and quant funds.
And we're not talking about data that is coming directly from a public company's leadership team that made it to a friend who, through a game of telephone made it, you overheard something in a coffee shop. That's not the type of information. It's actually information gathering using publicly available information or buying data that you can mine and turn into some kind of insight.
Yeah, that's right. And listen, we have a massive community at Dumb Money, our Discord group, which is dumbmoney.tv/Discord. We have people from every walk of life. They work at essentially every company in the country. They do all kinds of things. And we get, inside information all the time. For example, we have a delivery driver, or we have multiple delivery drivers in our Discord community that are constantly reporting to us the types of items that they're seeing that they're delivering more of than they've ever delivered before. Remember earlier this year, they were delivering more 1-800
flowers. The FedEx delivery driver was saying, I've seen more from this company than I've ever seen before.
Yeah, it was actually one of their subsidiaries, but it was like, it was wild, the type of information we get. So we're seeing that information all the time. Our interpretation, or we're not lawyers, is that information is fine, that information is legal. That's our interpretation. We're comfortable trading on, inside information because of someone's eye line into an industry sector. And we're part of the community. So we'd like to share with you some inside information that we have come across very recently on a company that just IPO'd a couple weeks ago. And I want to share this with you guys. The story actually goes back many years. And Dave, you're familiar with this company too, because we're both kind of in this industry. For those of y'all that don't know, Dave owns a bar, partially owns a bar. I partially own a restaurant. And we were actually one of the very first users of Toast. Toast is a POS system that went public recently in the last few weeks. And I actually used Toast at Chelsea Corner. Me and my partner, Lynn, used it. We fell in love with it. It was the equivalent of using an iPhone for the very first time when you've been using basically, phones with no, like old school phones for two decades, and you finally see an iPhone. That's the experience of using Toast for the first time. Dave, have you used Toast at the bar?
We have not used it.
This is not the inside information that we're talking about. We'll get to the inside information in a few minutes. Okay, we'll get to the inside information, so hold on. But Dave, have you used Toast?
We have not used it. We are a very high volume business where Toast has a slightly more like detailed order process where it's more than one button to order a quick item. And I think they've streamlined that. And
They've changed that. Everything has changed. They fixed all their problems. We actually discontinued Toast years ago because they couldn't handle the high volume because it's a cloud-based system. So there's no hardware sitting in your restaurant. It's all cloud-based, and they could not
which is good and bad because as you know, the people who work in restaurants, trying to have them manage like a server that is centrally located that all of the POS touch points are connected to, like managing that yourself is difficult. So a cloud-based solution is like a useful idea, and the kind of reporting and the kind of visibility and all the things that Toast did, it was a game changer. And then we had a pandemic that caused it to just become like a requirement because now we're having to move to takeout and delivery based stuff.
Yes, but a better comparison is, we used to have hardware in our restaurant the same way that companies all had their own hardware and servers, right? And it's like Amazon AWS coming out. So Jordan, it's the equivalent of AWS coming out and saying, hey, we're going to do all this on the cloud, and we're going to offer more functionality and more back-end tools and more data-driven features than any system has ever offered, because we're going to focus on that, and we're going to take that big lift. We don't have to have 10,000 people serving all these restaurants, fixing hardware and all the junk that Aloha does, right? That's our system right now that we had to move back to. Well, we're moving back to Toast. We're moving back to Toast because we've been waiting to move back to Toast for years, and they're finally at a point where we can go back. The inside information I want to share today on Toast, we'll talk about the publicly traded IPO, is I was talking to our GM about our move back to Toast a week ago. And our GM, just in a casual conversation, said, because we've been trying to get back on Toast for months. And he's like, dude, we're just delayed because they have such an overwhelming amount of new customers. They cannot handle the installations, just the onboarding right now. And in fact, he told me that one of our other vendors, I won't say who, that he regularly talks to, told him that in their entire history, this is a vendor that works with all the POS systems, so they have a touch point into POS systems. In all the years working with POS systems, they have never seen a transition like this with people migrating from other systems to Toast. They said they are essentially at capacity just working their own migration of customers, restaurant customers of theirs that are moving from Aloha and moving from microsystems and all these other platforms all over to Toast. And at that very second, I said, I think I texted you guys, said, guys, we got to do an episode on Toast. Okay, we got to do an episode on Toast because yes, they IPO'd. They came out way higher than their IPO. I mean, it was they were supposed to IPO at like 27. They IPO'd they ended up coming public in the 50s, right? Upper 50s.
I think 40, and then on day one it went up to 62, and it's come back since, but still at $52.90, that is way higher than the $40 range, which was beyond the highest range of their expectations. And so I
think it's about 15 times revenue, Dave, is where they're trading at right now, which, it's pretty robust, 15x revenue. But the company grew at 100%, mostly because of COVID, being, holding their revenue back last year. So they have good comparables.
It's like 17 is what I read.
17. But I want everyone to know something about their business model. And this is critical. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. One, they are the Apple of POS systems for restaurants. I believe they will dominate over the next 10 years. The reason why I was skeptical on Toast 5 years ago is it's like no company can come with a cloud-based platform and get any traction in this space because the entire industry sector is too fragmented. Restaurant owners are never going to aggregate into one system like this because they're all already bought in to a 30, 40-year-old system called Aloha and microsystems, and everyone knows how to use it. And the biggest thing that GMs will tell you is they don't want change. My guys know how to use this. The waiters know how to use this. I don't want change. Somehow, Aloha broke through the noise. They gained, I think, I want to say how many 38,000 restaurants so far, I believe is the number. Is it more than that? 38,000.
They're saying 40,000 on their website.
Okay, there's 600,000 restaurants ish, something like that in the U.S. I believe, millions worldwide, so lots of room for growth. But here's the interesting thing, guys. Aloha works Toast works very differently than other systems. Toast makes their money not just off of monthly fees, which are really reasonable, by the way. They charge reasonable monthly fees. Toast requires you to sign up with Toast to be the credit card merchant for your restaurant. So what that means is they take the 2.7% or 2.2, whatever it happens to be, the negotiated rate, they get that business, okay? So for every single restaurant in the world that signs up with Toast, Toast gets that 2 point whatever percent. And now, of course, they need to still pay the Visa fees. They have some banking fees they have to pay, right? But they're getting margin there on all of your revenue.
And we've been involved in some startup companies that had a similar model. One that was in online ordering for sporting apparel. And the whole revenue model there was we process your credit cards for you, and that is where the revenue was. And then we also were involved in an RV parking lot startup that the whole company was basically built around being a credit card processor.
That one didn't work so well, Dave, because their total addressable market was pretty small. But I will tell you this, guys, when I think about a recovery play for restaurants, I cannot think of a better recovery play anywhere for restaurants than Toast. Why? As restaurant revenue goes up as the pandemic subsides, right? And as we get into the true roaring 2020s, which will hopefully now start officially next year, right? We're creeping into it right now. The revenue at Toast, even without adding any new clients, is going to float up because they get a piece of every dollar you spend at every single restaurant. And if you go to these restaurants and you see these fancy handheld units that the waiters can just charge you at your table, there's no paperwork. They're basically placing your order at the table. The majority of that, not all of that, there are other systems that do this, but Toast is like literally the best at doing this, okay? And so they're getting a piece of every dollar. So guys, this is not only for me a massive inside information arbitrage opportunity, because I know from my sources at least that massive amounts of restaurants are in the process of switching over to Toast, which gives me confidence that over the next couple quarters at least, we should see really good numbers coming out of Toast. Now, it's hard to gauge what the expectations are, but I feel comfortable that if everyone's saying they've never seen anything like this before in my industry, that the numbers have got to be pretty good. On top of that, I love them as my restaurant recovery play for next year. So guys, I hate buying into IPOs that trade at double where they were expected to IPO at, like a month before the IPO, which is almost where this one is trading at. But listen, it is down 10, 15% since its recent high, which makes me feel a little better. I don't trade price. I bought Toast, okay? I bought Toast this last week. And if the market ever recovers and I could get back some of this money I've lost the last month and a half and Peloton recovers, I might have a little extra cash. I might buy more Toast, okay? But this is the type of information that we trade. It's inside information, but I don't believe, in my opinion, that it's illegal inside information. And it's something that everybody has access to because in our Discord group, we have people in every industry sector. And if you ask the right questions, if they share the right information, we can get insight that nobody else has in a legal and public way, because these are just things that we see as consumers, things that we see as people every day in our jobs. We're not working for the company. We're not working for Toast, right? We're just working in other
And you're not even talking to someone who's working for Toast. You're talking to your general manager who is having a hard time even getting his own installation done because it's so backlogged. Now, do you think this is going to take business away from Square?
So I think, I don't necessarily think so. I think Square and Toast are kind of two separate industry sectors. Toast
and you
is
don't
more
see like big
restaurant.
Restaurants using Square, right? So Square to me is more like you've got a coffee shop, or you've got like really some like small type, drinks, maybe a couple of pieces of food, but like the where Toast really shines, it's got a really nice, easy to use point of sale system, but also it takes away the need for a bunch of disparate software systems that don't talk to each other. And so that's their selling point into these restaurants. To where Square is like, oh, I just need something to take money for those upfront transactions. And so they're kind of different solutions.
No, absolutely correct. By the way, I have to respond to this comment. Chris hypes when it doesn't work. He blames COVID or something else. Okay. Let me just say something. We're social arbitrators. I want to make this very clear. We're social arbitrators. So we generally trade on, more often than not, one piece of information. We trade on information that we think is not fully appreciated by the market, not fully seen by the market, that we also believe can meaningfully move a sector or a stock. That's what social trading is. The negative to social arb trading is there are always other elements. We try to identify the other elements as risk factors. In this last year, COVID, variant D is a risk factor that we have no control over, right? So when these risk factors come in and hit the sector, hit the market, or hit a stock, right? It's something that we're aware of. We know it's a risk, but it's a risk that we're willing to take. So yes, sometimes a social arb trade goes bad when there's something else that's more meaningful than the information we're trading that comes into play. We understand that risk. We talk about them on these episodes. And there have been times this summer when D variant ended up being a much bigger deal than we anticipated, but we knew that was a chance. And it did come in and hurt some of our trades. It hurt, it hurt TAP, right? Molson Coors. It hurt a couple of our other trades. So you're absolutely right. It's not that I'm blaming them. It's that that's what social arb trading is. There's no such thing as a short thing, guys. That's not what we do. We don't do short things. This is our approach to trading. This is our approach to generating alpha. This is our approach to trying to identify differentiated information that will give us an advantage, but not a sure thing. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you're technically
and one other,
correct.
One other piece of data that I found interesting that floated across my inbox today, and I know Chris hates survey data, but there was a Piper Sandler report from a survey of 10,000 teens that showed that Snapchat is the favorite social media platform with a 35% share, followed by TikTok. See, I would have guessed it was the other way around, and then Instagram behind it. And for me, that was like, that's not inside information. That is like just seeing some data, and maybe the market doesn't actually realize that Snapchat is so popular among that demographic.
I mean, I think the market realizes it. Truthfully, though, when it comes to that information, the only thing that really matters is data. And we have access to their usage numbers. And their usage numbers is actually a true reflection of how much someone likes the platform, not how much they say they like a platform, right?
Yeah.
Well, they can say whatever they want, but the bottom line is TikTok is exploding in usage, time on platform, and every other metric globally. By the way, Snapchat's still doing fantastic. Nothing wrong with Snapchat, but it doesn't have the broad-based appeal that TikTok has. So you're right. There are some demographics, Dave, where maybe if you looked at usage,
and according to the study, the Snapchat is distancing its lead over TikTok, which I just thought was interesting over time.
I don't know. It is interesting. I don't know. Like I said, I don't like research that's performed in that manner because it's highly interpretable and people don't even think that much about what they say or how the questions are being asked. So I prefer to look into transparent actual data and usage. And I haven't looked at that for Snap in a while. I'm not invested in Snap. But they're doing fine, man. TikTok, on the other hand, is completely destroying it. I mean, they're just crushing it.
All right, so we have to tell people that coming up on Saturday is a very special live broadcast. The three of us will be in Las Vegas for the big Pokemon Saves the World event. We are going to bring the whole thing to you live right here on Dumb Money Live. And
with really some interesting surprise special guests that we think we're going to have that you guys might or might not already know. I think it's going to be a really fun day. So if you have a couple hours on Saturday, we're breaking $1 million of Pokemon cards with some of your favorite TikTokers and YouTubers and celebrities. Steve Aoki is partnering with us. He'll be there opening packs. Gary King Pokemon, the world's largest Pokemon collector. It's going to be so much fun, guys. But we have some really interesting people that we're going to have open packs on stage. I think you will
Some
probably
big
recognize
Pokemon
them.
card fans that if you watch our channel, there's a really good chance, according to the analytics, there's a good chance you also watch them.
Yeah. So stay tuned. What time is that, Dave? That kicks off at, I want to say, around 4
time.
p.m. Pacific, which is like 7 p.m. Eastern, something around 7 p.m. Eastern. I don't know.
It's around 3 hour time, so 1 Pacific. 1 Pacific, is that right?
No, that's not the broadcast, Dave. That's the event.
When is the broadcast start? I have no
the,
idea.
the event starts at 4 Pacific, so that would be 5 our time and 6 Eastern.
Well, no, there's 2 hour difference between Vegas and Dallas.
Yeah. So I said, okay, so 7 Eastern. My bad.
We're not good at math. We are dumb money. We'll see you on Saturday.